And it's time for a market update. So the JSE is slightly down today, but still hovering at one-year highs. Traders continue to assess the likelihood of rate cuts by the Federal Reserve and the ongoing earnings season. On the domestic front, though, manufacturing data for March will be released in the next hour. We are now joined by Greg Katzenellenbogen, who is the director of Sanlam Private Wealth. He joins us now to give us the latest on the markets and how the markets are moving today. Greg, good afternoon. Thank you so much for making time for us. So I thought that cryptocurrency is the future, but now we hear that Nigeria plans to ban person-to-person crypto trade.
Well, Nigeria's, they've run into, they're having a big spat with the crypto exchange called Binance. And they've been blaming them for volatility in the Nigerian currency. And so what they did was they asked a couple of the executives to come for a meeting to Nigeria, assured them of safe passage, and then promptly arrested those fellas. And one of them who subsequently escaped, but they're holding one of the executives. Now, they say that it's crypto trading has been led to a lot of the volatility in the currency. Well, I mean, they did themselves take steps, the Nigerian government, to stabilize the currency, but volatility remains, and now they're trying to blame it on crypto.
Yeah. And back home, South African fintech firm Lisaka being able to reduce its loss in the third quarter. I see that revenues also increased by 9%. Help us make sense of their performance.
Yeah, well, you know, reading the statement from the chairman, performance was strong and consistent, they said. So their adjusted earnings before income tax and depreciation increased to 183 million. That was a 47% growth year on year. And their operating income went from a loss to a profit of 15 million. So, and they reduced their debt from 4.2 times to 2.6 times. So they still see a lot of growth in Southern Africa, and they've also acquired another fintech company called Adumo, and so they expect their business to grow stronger from there. But all in all, it was a good year for them.
Yeah. Then Pan-African Resources. So they've revised their production guidance for the year that ends in June and the guidance for 2025. Talk us through these numbers.
So they had previously put guidance of production between 180 and 190,000 ounces. They've now revised that narrower to 186,000 to 190. So what they did in the second half, they stopped processing material from Evander gold mines because it was uneconomical. And if they had continued that production, they would have then exceeded the forecast of 190,000. But they're basically saying that they're keeping that forecast. They should get close to that, but they have stopped mining at the unprofitable, uneconomic Evander gold mine.
And then there's the agriculture, fuel and manufacturing company, KEL Group, formerly known as Cap Agri. They have reported a 7% rise in their headline earnings for the first half. What led to these numbers?
So look, the first 6 months of their 24 financial year, they were dominated by poor economic conditions, subdued growth, but and then of course, the negative effects of load shedding reduced somewhat, but in the second half things improved across the business from the first quarter. Their building materials division, that although building material sector remained subdued, their building material companies outperformed the sector, and then they had revenue growth in the fuel company channel, and that was bolstered by fuel price increases, and manufacturing revenue growth increased as farm infrastructure spend improved. So that led to the increase in their earnings.
Thank you so much for that update there, Greg, with the latest and what's happening in the markets.